Hello and welcome to another episode of the Gentle Business Space podcast. I'm Fabi. I'm a nervous system friendly business and systems mentor, and I support other sensitive women build an aligned and sustainable heart-centered business with more clarity and calm and structure so that you can really grow your business without burning out. And for this episode, I just want to say a warm welcome to January. As I'm recording it, it's just the beginning of January. Welcome to a new year. And I want to use this episode as a gentle reminder that if you're not feeling it yet, that's absolutely okay. So in January, there can be so much pressure and expectations of that kind of new year energy of suddenly having everything in your business and your life sorted and being full of energy. That kind of the whole thing of new year, new you. But in reality, most people or a lot of people don't actually feel that way. And it's really not surprising. Yet it can feel like something is wrong with us because of all that energy that we see on social media. Of those kind of new beginnings and everything suddenly should be sorted. So if you're feeling tired after the holidays, after holding space maybe for family, after a busy period of kind of September to December, or even the whole last year, maybe you're just not feeling it yet. Maybe you feel disconnected or just naturally feeling more of that slower energy in winter, then that's absolutely okay and you're not alone. So many of us feel the same way in January, and it's really not surprising. I don't know why there's suddenly supposed to be this switch off, all of a sudden everything's okay, even though you've been busy before. It usually doesn't work that way. And also, as I already just said, we are still in the middle of winter. So we are naturally more tired, a lot of people. So you might experience that more slower pace. So it can feel really unnatural to go the other way. But equally on the other side of it, it's sometimes we can get really caught up in that energy without really checking in if it's right for us, if it's what we need right now. I know it happened to me many times, getting up into that kind of January energy, thinking everything's okay, so let's just do it, let's power through, new year. Then we end up overscheduling, saying yes to everything, making lots of plans, and just feeling utterly exhausted by the end of January. I've experienced both sides, the kind of not feeling it in January, or that, okay, let's push through it and do it all. And I know a lot of other people experience the same thing. So if you're going through that at the moment, you're not alone. And instead, I just want to share that gentle reminder that it's okay to start gently, to start slow. Even though everyone else might tell you otherwise, you can go at your own pace. And this can change so much for ourselves. It starts with that self-compassion of taking off that pressure that we have to do it all of a sudden, even though we're not in that space right now. So inviting that self-compassion that it can be gentler. And before you get busy with work this month, planning ahead, we're going to do a gentle little bit of planning, but a little bit differently. So before you get busy, I would like to invite you to pause and check in with yourself. With curiosity and kindness, it's not about being harsh with yourself, but just checking in and noticing how do you actually feel this time of year and what do you need? How do you feel and what do you actually need? Not what everyone else might tell you should be doing or you should need this time of year. And how do you feel and what do you need? And really taking time to acknowledge how you feel, what you need, as well as what you have capacity for. Taking time to acknowledge that. And sometimes the accepting it can be really difficult. But again, we want to come in with curiosity, kindness, and lots of self-compassion, of acknowledging and accepting where we are actually at. Because once we know that, we can plan it so much better. We can reflect, we can look forward, but we need to know what we actually need in order to plan properly according to our own needs. And once you've done that, you might want to gently reflect. So as I said, we do a little bit of gently reflecting and planning, but really just around our own needs. So it's a little bit different. So if it feels right, you might want to reflect a little bit on how did you feel towards the end of last year about your business and your well-being. How do you feel now? And all throughout last year. And maybe there's something that needs to change. I know I had quite a few years where I felt really run down towards the end of December. I was super busy, which was great, but also exhausting. And I knew something needed to change because I wanted more spaciousness. I wanted to be able to enjoy the Christmas time. And it gave me a good indication of what needed to change moving forward. And that can be very gently, but just starting to acknowledge that can be a really great way of noticing what do we actually need this year. So how did you feel about everything? So once that's a little bit clearer, you can look ahead. Again, gently with openness and curiosity, lots of compassion. And only as much as it feels right for you and your capacity. Sometimes it can be really challenging to look ahead. And maybe you just want to look at the next month, the next 3 months instead of the next year. So take what feels right. So how do you want to feel at the end of this year or in a few months? How do you want this year to look like? How do you want to work? How do you want to spend your time? And we focus a little bit more now at the feeling side of it. How does it feel within you? Instead of all the little details, really just want to check in, what is that feeling I want to bring into this year? And maybe there's a word or a theme that comes up. For me, the last year after having a very busy year before that, it was spaciousness. So I knew, again, we're going back to that reflection. Okay, it's been very busy. It felt really like I had no free time. So I wanted spaciousness for the year following. I wanted to bring more spaciousness into it, more grounding, more connectedness. So what might that word be for you? What is coming up that you want to bring into this year? And when we're clearer on that, we can start to look at what do we need to put in place to make that happen? What do you actually need as support to make that happen? And especially, and that's the part we want to focus on today, is what does your self-care really look like to support you? Before we plan anything else, all the details of the actually business planning, I want to invite you to take some time to planning your time off, your essential self-care, your support network, anything that you need to make that vision of how you want to work happen, anything that you need, that you need to support yourself. So reprioritize that. So how can you support yourself? What would be helpful so that your own self-care doesn't become a reward? I know a lot of the times there's self-care bits, okay, when I achieve this, then I take time off. Then I book that spa treatment. But instead, we want to switch it. We want your self-care, your support network to become your baseline so that you can work from overflow and not go back into that burnout, overworking space. And even when we then have phases where we come into stressful situations or stressful periods in the business, you still have that baseline of support. So having those boundaries in place. So it can be those things of time off, as well as your, day-to-day structure. How many hours do you want to work? When is your, really cut off time with work? So you stop working at the end of the day and don't work all night. So really putting all of these things in place first. And then afterwards looking at the bigger picture of the detail, well, not the bigger picture, but the details of what you want to share. And then that theme that you set yourself, the intention and the self-care plans and the support network really become your guide for planning this year, gently according to your capacity. So you set the structure first and then start to plan. And instead of that whole new year, new you, I would like to switch it this year towards how about this year is about becoming more yourself again, one step at a time. Because we don't need a new version of ourselves every single year, but instead we can move closer towards who you truly are and work and live in a way that's really aligned to who you actually are. So coming closer to your true self and kind of letting go of everything else, all that noise, all that clutter, not having to change ourselves, but actually just being yourself and following your own strengths, your values, your own vision, and following that very gently and aligned. If you would like a little bit more support with planning for this year, but in a gentler, more nervous system friendly approach, I'm currently offering 10 free 30-minute one-off mentoring sessions where we can explore your gentle vision a little bit more together and start making a plan that's really aligned with who you are. I only offer these sessions once or twice a year, and this time they're only available this January until they're all booked up. So there's 10 available, so you can just go straight in, book it, and then we have our session together. If you like more support, I also have a 4-week container of one-to-one support for gentle vision and planning reset, where we can, in a bigger container, obviously explore a little bit more your vision and plans for this year, again in that very aligned way that works for you. I will share links for both in the description. And this is bringing us to the end of this episode. It's been lovely to be back this January. I've had a little break over Christmas. I look forward to sharing lots more episodes. And as always, I would love to know what's your biggest takeaway from today. And thank you so much for listening. And I hope you can bring a gentler, slower approach into January. Let go of all that pressure that you might hear outside, the outside noise, and really following your own path according to your own capacity. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you again soon in another episode. Take care.